What if the food sitting in your kitchen right now held the power to influence your health in ways most people never imagine? Imagine opening your refrigerator and realizing that some of the most ordinary ingredients inside it could help your body repair damaged DNA, slow down harmful cellular activity, and make it harder for dangerous cells to survive. No complicated procedures, no expensive medications, and no hidden tricks, just everyday food doing what nature designed it to do. It might sound almost too simple to be true, but the science behind it is very real, and once you understand it, the way you look at your meals may change forever. Before you assume this is another exaggerated health claim, stay with me for a moment. Everything we're discussing today is grounded in serious scientific research, published in respected peer-reviewed journals, and investigated by leading institutions around the world. Over the last 2 decades, scientists have been exploring a fascinating area of medicine that connects nutrition directly with the health of our genetic code. The results are remarkable. They show that certain compounds in food can influence how our cells protect themselves, repair damage, and maintain stability at the most fundamental level of life. My name is Dr. Thomas, and today we're diving into one of the most important yet rarely discussed topics in modern health science, the connection between what you eat and the condition of your DNA. Most people think about food in terms of calories, weight gain, or maybe heart health, but far fewer realize that the nutrients in their diet are constantly interacting with the genetic instructions inside every cell of their body. To understand why this matters, we need to start with a simple truth about human biology. Every single day, the DNA inside your cells experiences damage. This is not a rare event, and it isn't limited to people with illnesses. It happens to every human being, every day of their lives. Your cells are exposed to an enormous number of stressors, including environmental pollutants, ultraviolet radiation from the sun, chemical byproducts from normal metabolism, and unstable molecules known as free radicals. Over time, all of these factors can chip away at the integrity of your genetic code. Fortunately, your body is not defenseless. Built into every cell are sophisticated DNA repair systems. These systems rely on specialized enzymes and proteins that constantly scan your genetic material, searching for errors or damage. When they find a problem, they move in to repair it before it becomes something more serious. This process is happening inside you right now, quietly and continuously. But here is the question that rarely gets asked. These repair systems need resources to function properly. They require specific nutrients and biochemical building blocks to do their work effectively. If your diet does not supply those materials, the repair process becomes less efficient. Over time, that can allow small problems in your DNA to accumulate. This is where food becomes far more powerful than most people realize. Researchers have discovered that certain natural compounds in everyday foods can strengthen these protective systems. Some of these molecules activate genes that increase the production of detoxifying enzymes. Others help neutralize harmful substances before they damage DNA. And a few remarkable compounds can even interfere with the biological pathways that abnormal cells rely on for growth. Today we're going to explore several of the most powerful examples. We'll look at how they function inside the body and how simple dietary choices can help deliver them consistently. And the first compound on our list comes from a group of vegetables that many people already eat, but few understand just how valuable they are. That compound is called sulforaphane, and it is found in cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, cabbage, and kale. Sulforaphane has become one of the most intensely studied anti-cancer compounds in nutritional science, and its story begins with something surprisingly simple: the act of chopping or chewing a vegetable. When you cut or chew these plants, their cells break open and trigger a chemical reaction that produces sulforaphane. It's part of the plant's natural defense system, but when we eat it, that same compound can activate powerful protective responses inside our own cells. And what happens next inside the body is where the science becomes truly fascinating. Once sulforaphane enters your system, it activates a powerful regulatory pathway centered around a protein known as NRF2. You can think of NRF2 as a kind of internal security chief for your cells. Its job is to monitor stress and danger at the molecular level. When this protein is switched on, it signals the activation of hundreds of genes responsible for protecting your cells from damage. Sulforaphane is one of the most effective natural triggers of this protective pathway. When NRF2 becomes active, it increases the production of detoxifying enzymes that help neutralize harmful chemicals before they can injure your DNA. These enzymes act like a cleanup crew, identifying dangerous compounds and converting them into forms that the body can safely remove. At the same time, NRF2 boosts the cell's antioxidant defenses, reducing the impact of free radicals that would otherwise attack genetic material. But the benefits do not stop there. Sulforaphane also improves the cell's ability to identify and eliminate damaged proteins. Proteins are the machinery that keep every biological process running smoothly, and when they become damaged, they can disrupt normal cellular function. By encouraging the removal of faulty proteins, sulforaphane helps maintain a healthier internal environment for the cell. Even more remarkable is the effect this compound can have on abnormal or cancerous cells. A number of studies have demonstrated that sulforaphane can slow the growth of certain cancer cells and, in some cases, trigger a process known as apoptosis. Apoptosis is often described as programmed cell death. It is a natural safety mechanism in which cells that are severely damaged or potentially dangerous are instructed to shut themselves down and disappear before they can cause harm. What makes this especially interesting is that sulforaphane appears to act selectively. Research suggests that while it can encourage the destruction of abnormal cells, it leaves healthy cells largely unaffected. In other words, it supports the body's natural quality control systems rather than attacking cells indiscriminately. Scientists at institutions, such as Johns Hopkins University, have spent decades studying this compound, and their findings continue to build a compelling picture of how powerful certain plant chemicals can be when consumed regularly. The encouraging part is that obtaining meaningful levels of sulforaphane does not require complicated supplements or expensive products. In most cases, simply eating cruciferous vegetables several times a week can deliver measurable amounts. Broccoli is often considered one of the best sources. Eating it raw works well, but lightly steaming it can actually improve its benefits if done correctly. After chopping broccoli, allowing it to sit for a few minutes before cooking gives the chemical reaction time to produce more sulforaphane. Light steaming preserves the compound while keeping the vegetable easy to digest. Now, while sulforaphane works primarily through the NRF2 pathway, another compound found in common foods influences the body in a completely different but equally important way. This next molecule has received a great deal of attention in the scientific community over the years, though it is sometimes misunderstood in popular health discussions. The compound is called resveratrol. Resveratrol naturally occurs in foods, such as red grapes, blueberries, mulberries, and peanuts. It is also present in small amounts in red wine, which is one of the reasons wine has occasionally been associated with certain health benefits when consumed moderately. The true scientific interest in resveratrol comes from its ability to activate a group of proteins known as sirtuins. Among them, one in particular, SIRT1, plays a crucial role in maintaining cellular stability. These proteins are deeply involved in regulating metabolism, controlling inflammation, and protecting the integrity of DNA. Because of these effects, sirtuins are sometimes referred to as longevity-related proteins. When they become active, they help cells respond more effectively to stress and damage. They also assist in repairing one of the most dangerous types of genetic injury, double-strand DNA breaks. And understanding why those breaks are so dangerous brings us to the next part of the story. Double-strand DNA breaks occur when both strands of the DNA helix are severed. This is one of the most severe forms of genetic damage because it compromises the very structure that stores the instructions for all cellular functions. If left unrepaired or improperly repaired, these breaks can lead to mutations, chromosomal instability, and in the worst cases, the uncontrolled growth of cells that characterizes cancer. Resveratrol's ability to activate sirtuins means it helps the cell detect and repair these breaks efficiently, protecting the genome from lasting damage. Resveratrol also plays a significant role in controlling inflammation. Chronic inflammation is widely recognized as a contributing factor to cancer development. Persistent inflammatory signals create an environment where abnormal cells can thrive and evade the body's natural defenses. By regulating the activity of genes involved in inflammatory responses, resveratrol reduces this risk and supports overall cellular stability. Another remarkable feature of resveratrol is its impact on cancer cell metabolism. Cancer cells have a voracious appetite for glucose, consuming energy at rates far higher than normal cells, a phenomenon known as the Warburg effect. Resveratrol can interfere with key enzymes in this process, essentially depriving cancer cells of the fuel they need to grow, while leaving healthy cells unharmed. This selective action highlights the sophisticated ways in which nutrients from food can influence cellular behavior, far beyond the simple provision of calories. The most practical way to harness these benefits is straightforward. Eating a daily handful of blueberries, enjoying red grapes, or incorporating mulberries into your morning smoothie provides meaningful amounts of resveratrol. It is simple, accessible, and delicious, yet profoundly protective at the cellular level. This is a recurring theme in nutrition science. The most effective compounds are often those found in whole, everyday foods rather than isolated supplements. Moving from resveratrol, let's consider another compound that is surprisingly underappreciated despite its wide presence in common diets. Quercetin. Quercetin is a flavonoid found in red onions, apples, kale, capers, and green tea. Its capabilities are truly multidimensional. One of the most important is its ability to interfere with enzymes called topoisomerases, which cancer cells rely on to replicate their DNA during cell division. By inhibiting these enzymes, quercetin disrupts the replication machinery, effectively slowing down the proliferation of abnormal cells. Quercetin also demonstrates strong anti-inflammatory properties. It inhibits the release of histamine and other inflammatory mediators, reducing the chronic low-level inflammation that can create a favorable environment for tumor development. Its effects are even more impressive when combined with other protective compounds, such as resveratrol or vitamin C. These combinations amplify their benefits, providing a compelling argument for consuming a diverse array of plant-based foods rather than focusing narrowly on single supplements. At this point, it's essential to step back and understand the larger framework within which these compounds operate. This framework is called epigenetics, a field that fundamentally changes how we think about genes and heredity. For decades, the prevailing belief was that your genes are fixed at birth, dictating your destiny in an unchangeable way. Modern science has overturned that assumption. We now know that genes function more like switches that can be turned on or off depending on a variety of factors, including diet, lifestyle, and environmental exposures. Certain foods contain molecules that directly influence these epigenetic switches. They can silence genes that promote tumor growth, known as oncogenes, while activating tumor suppressor genes that help prevent uncontrolled cellular proliferation. One of the most potent epigenetic modulators found in food is EGCG, or epigalactotic galate, present in green tea. EGCG has been shown to alter DNA methylation patterns, a primary mechanism by which genes are regulated, reactivating silenced tumor suppressor genes and restoring the cell's ability to control its own growth. To achieve meaningful levels of EGCG, consuming 2 to 3 cups of high-quality green tea daily is effective, and matcha provides an even more concentrated source. 1 cup of matcha can deliver the equivalent EGCG of roughly 10 cups of standard green tea. This is a practical, accessible way to support your cells and your DNA on a daily basis. This brings us to another cornerstone of cancer-fighting nutrition: curcumin, the active compound in turmeric. Curcumin has become widely studied for its extraordinary effects on multiple cellular pathways. One of its primary actions is to inhibit NF-kappa B, a protein complex that functions as a master switch for inflammation and plays a central role in cancer cell survival. By dampening these inflammatory signals, curcumin reduces the environment in which abnormal cells could thrive, but its effects don't stop there. It also targets cancer stem cells, the subpopulation within tumors, responsible for regrowth and metastasis, and encourages apoptosis in harmful cells, all while sparing healthy tissue. Like EGCG, curcumin also influences epigenetic processes. It can modulate the activity of enzymes that regulate gene expression, effectively helping cells maintain control over their own growth and repair mechanisms. The only challenge with curcumin has historically been bioavailability. The body doesn't absorb it efficiently on its own. However, pairing it with black pepper, specifically a compound in black pepper called piperine, can increase absorption by up to 2 0%. This is why traditional culinary practices, such as adding turmeric and black pepper together in dishes, are not just cultural habits, but practical biochemistry in action. Incorporating turmeric into soups, stews, or making golden milk ensures you're getting a form that your body can actually use. While plant-based compounds provide profound benefits, certain fats are equally critical in supporting cellular health. Omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA, found in fatty fish like salmon, sardines, mackerel, and anchovies, play a pivotal role. These fats integrate directly into cell membranes, influencing how cells communicate with one another. They are highly anti-inflammatory and support the function of DNA repair enzymes, which in turn helps preserve the integrity of your genetic material. Studies consistently show that higher omega-3 intake is associated with a reduced risk of several types of cancer, including colorectal and breast cancers. For those who prefer plant-based sources, algae-derived omega-3 supplements can provide equivalent amounts of EPA and DHA without the need for fish. Now that we've explored individual compounds, the key takeaway isn't about rigid protocols or complicated supplement regimens. It's about building a diet that naturally delivers these protective molecules consistently. Imagine the practical implementation. Enjoy broccoli or Brussels sprouts several times a week to supply sulforaphane. Include a daily handful of blueberries and red grapes for resveratrol. Cook with red onions whenever possible to get quercetin. Drink 2 to 3 cups of green tea daily for EGCG. Season meals with turmeric and black pepper to access curcumin's benefits. And aim for 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week, or the plant-based equivalent, to incorporate omega-3s. These are not exotic ingredients, and they are widely available in virtually every grocery store. When combined consistently, they create a biochemical environment that makes it significantly harder for cancer to establish itself, while supporting the ongoing repair and maintenance of your DNA. Each meal becomes an opportunity to either enhance your cellular defenses or inadvertently leave them weaker. This perspective reframes the concept of nutrition, from simple calorie counting to an active, preventative strategy that works at the molecular level. I want to emphasize an important distinction. While these foods are incredibly protective, they are not a cure. If you or someone you know is dealing with a cancer diagnosis, working closely with your oncology team is essential. What these foods offer is prevention, and for those undergoing treatment, complementary support alongside conventional medicine. The evidence supporting their protective effects is robust and growing, illustrating how much influence diet can have over time. Ultimately, what this means is that your body is not a passive recipient of disease. Every meal, every choice, is a decision that affects your cellular health. Small changes, consistently implemented, can accumulate into significant results. Starting today, even a single addition like broccoli at dinner or a cup of green tea can begin shifting the environment inside your body toward resilience and repair. And while we often underestimate the power of everyday foods, the truth is that these compounds are nature's way of equipping your body with tools to defend itself. They work in harmony, sometimes enhancing each other's effects, highlighting why whole foods consistently outperform isolated supplements. The strategy is simple, accessible, and profoundly effective when applied consistently over time. Continuing from the idea that your daily food choices act as molecular decisions, it's important to understand how combining these protective compounds amplifies their benefits. Nutritional science increasingly demonstrates that these molecules don't work in isolation. For example, when quercetin is paired with resveratrol or vitamin C, their combined effects on inflammation, DNA repair, and cancer cell suppression are significantly greater than any single compound alone. Nature designed these substances to work synergistically, which is a strong argument for focusing on whole foods rather than isolated pills or powders. Eating a varied, colorful diet ensures your cells receive this natural combination of protective agents every day. Consider the role of lifestyle in this context. While diet is crucial, it is part of a larger system that determines gene expression and overall health. Physical activity, sleep quality, and stress management all influence the same cellular pathways impacted by these food compounds. Exercise, for instance, enhances DNA repair and activates many of the same protective proteins triggered by sulforaphane and resveratrol. Adequate sleep allows your body to repair damaged DNA and regulate inflammation efficiently. Managing stress keeps cortisol levels in check, preventing chronic inflammation from undermining your cellular defenses. In other words, the food you eat provides the raw materials, but lifestyle choices determine how effectively your body uses them. Returning to the foods themselves, let's look at practical ways to integrate them consistently. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and kale are highly versatile. Lightly steaming, roasting, or even eating them raw after chopping maximizes sulforaphane production. Berries and red grapes can be added to breakfast bowls, smoothies, or simply eaten as snacks. Red onions can be incorporated into salads, stir-fries, and soups, providing quercetin while adding flavor. Green tea, whether brewed or as matcha, is an easy daily ritual that delivers EGCG. Turmeric combined with black pepper can be used in curries, stews, and even smoothies to ensure curcumin absorption. And fatty fish, or algae-based omega-3 supplements for plant-based diets, provide the critical fats that support cellular signaling and DNA repair. These steps are realistic, sustainable, and profoundly impactful when implemented consistently. The overarching message is clear. Every meal is an opportunity to influence your cellular environment positively. You don't need to rely on expensive supplements, complex protocols, or exotic ingredients. Instead, focusing on everyday foods that contain powerful compounds can create a biochemical landscape that makes it far more difficult for cancer to develop and supports the ongoing maintenance of your DNA. Think of your diet as a toolkit for cellular resilience. Each food adds a tool that repairs, protects, or strengthens your cells, and the cumulative effect over time can be substantial. Science continues to reveal just how dynamic this relationship is. Nutritional epigenetics shows that genes are not fixed. They respond to external inputs, particularly the molecules present in the foods you consume. Compounds like EGCG, curcumin, resveratrol, sulforaphane, quercetin, and omega-3 fatty acids interact with your genes and influence which ones are active, which are silent, and which pathways are prioritized. This is the foundation of prevention at a cellular level. It's about giving your body the tools it needs to repair itself, protect itself, and function optimally every day. Equally important is the mindset shift this knowledge demands. Too often, we consider prevention and health as passive processes, something that happens if we avoid obvious risks or take occasional supplements. In reality, health is active. It requires consistent, conscious decisions about what we eat, how we move, and how we manage stress. Small incremental changes, adding broccoli to dinner, sipping green tea in the morning, seasoning meals with turmeric and black pepper compound over time. The results are not immediate like a medication might produce, but their impact on DNA integrity, cellular repair, and long-term disease resistance is profound. Finally, one of the most empowering aspects of this approach is accessibility. These are not rare, exotic ingredients reserved for specialized diets. They are common, affordable, and available in grocery stores around the world. By consistently integrating them into your daily meals, you are taking control of your cellular health in a way that is practical, sustainable, and backed by science.